families perceive the kids as an extension of them. We are not an individual. We are part of this family. We are part of this joint family, right? We owe since the moment we are born. We owe, and we are part of it. And it's so difficult for them to understand, like, how can this person exist as an own individual. Yeah.
Hanji, thank you guys for joining us again. Thank you for all the love, support, comments, and everything on the prior episodes. Really appreciate your support. But please continue to share the podcast, comment, like, send it to your bua, send it to your fufur. Like, keep sending the podcast link to everyone, especially if you think that it's relevant and they would like it. Share the podcast as much as you can. And please subscribe and follow. Thank you. Okay, now, this episode is super, super interesting. When our guest messaged me, I was like, yes, this is the exact kind of conversations that need to be highlighted and need more light on. So I was so grateful when this topic fell in my lap. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Sumi.
Hello there. Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
You good?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm feeling just a bit nervous, but...
Yeah, don't feel nervous. I think another thing, guys, like, the guests that I have on are telling their, like, real stories. They don't really, like, do this often, but I think those are the kind of stories that we need to hear, right?
Yeah.
You're obviously, okay, I'm going to do a quick intro to Sumi. So Sumi reached out to me because she's done a PhD in this topic. And I won't tell you what the topic is until Sumi introduces it herself, because I feel like I won't do it justice. But it's a real life story, right? It's something that you relate to. It's something that even I related to, even though I'm not from the same place as you. So introduce yourself, tell us what the topic is about, and
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me.
It's all right.
So my name is Sumi. I'm coming all the way from Spain.
Woo! I love Spain.
Yes. So currently I'm just doing my PhD in education. And just to tell you a little bit about my background, I moved to Spain when I was 5.
Oh, wow.
Just so young, very little.
Yeah.
And
From Punjab?
From Punjab.
Okay, nice.
And currently I'm just in the middle of my PhD.
Yeah.
About to finish it next year if everything moves fine.
Yeah.
And obviously the topic, I always try to explain it as it's just my life journey.
Yeah.
And especially when you do touch these topics that it's like your lived experience. It feels a lot more engaging, even for the people that are listening to you or you are contacting through this process.
Yeah.
They feel it more also.
Yeah, of course. Because what we're going to discuss, guys, is essentially identity, migration. Obviously, you went over from India to Europe. The change, the expectations that kind of weigh on you. So you said that you're doing your PhD in this. So did you go to university? Like, how's the education system in Spain? Is it like, because over here we have school and then you have high school. Like, you have primary school, high school, and then you have, like, sixth form or college, university, and then after that, you would do your PhD. So is it, like, the same?
Yeah, so in Spain, we do have our primary school, which is from 6 to 12. Then we would have our high school until 16.
Yeah, same here.
And then +1, +2, sort of.
Okay, so that would be, like, our sixth form college kind of thing.
Like 2 years to prepare you for uni, basically.
Yeah.
And then you would do 4 years of your degree. And then more or less 1 or 2 years of masters.
Okay.
And then just you're up for the PhD.
Nice. So what did you do at university then?
So I graduated in primary teaching.
Oh, okay.
So I am a teacher myself.
Oh, nice.
And then my master's degree was on attention to diversity, in the basically studying about how inclusion works, how do schools adapt and include all types of diversity and all types of dysfunctions, or how to attend the students and also their families.
Yeah. That is super interesting. I don't think, like, when I was in school, this was even highlighted. And I think we were speaking about it over coffee. We were like, it's so strange how all these kids especially in school, unless you were like the confident
Yeah.
young kid who was like loud,
Yeah.
you never really got recognized. And obviously you have to bear in mind that some of these kids might not have English as their first language.
Yeah.
So even though they're performing so well in school and they're getting the grades, just because they're a bit quiet, the teachers might not like...
Yeah, they are never on the spotlight.
Yeah, and they kind of get pushed to the background. But then if you think about like the pressures that these kids are going through, like for example me, and I was telling Sumi this earlier, I was like, there was a comedian recently that I was watching, and he's from an immigrant family, and he was like, all the like Caucasian kids were going out and playing, and they were like, come out and play like just for an hour or two, and it was like, I'm sorry, I can't, I need to do my mum and dad's mortgage, or I need to do the insurance. And it was like,
Yes.
that is so true. Why is it like 8-year-old 6-year-old, like I was translating the bank to mum and dad and being like, oh, they're saying this or whatever,
That is so true.
and I knew how to like search insurance and how to get the cheapest insurance quote, you know, from like such a young age. But I look at my nephews and nieces and they don't know. Like, because obviously my sister and brother-in-law handle that kind of stuff themselves. But all that pressure as a kid and, you know, the frustration that kind of comes from that, it's quite a lot for young kids.
It is, definitely. And I feel like every person just adapts to it in a very different way. Maybe some people now would say that, because I've been doing interviews with many young people, like from Punjabi origin.
Okay, nice.
I've been collecting data.
Yeah,
So
for your PhD.
for my PhD, so I know more or less what are their narratives and what are their perspectives about different topics. So on this very one, they would say that sometimes they just had to do it because if not, they feel like they're deceiving their families or they're not doing enough, or their families did all this sacrifice to come to a new country for their better education, for their better opportunities, better future. But now it's like a sense of repayment, you know?
Yeah.
I have to succeed.
Yeah.
I have to feel that education is a way of social mobility, and I do need to repay this big thing that they did for me back in the days.
I mean, like with my mom, like onne kya si mainu like, okay, I wanted to study, and we covered that in the podcast with her. And ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ like ਮੇਰਾ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਸੀ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ, like that's all she wanted to do. And so because she got stripped from that education, her main focus with us was study so you don't have to do the jobs that I do, study so that you don't have to clean toilets, study so you don't have to do XYZ. And she was like, if you study, you get paid to take holiday. And I've said that before, and I was like, as a kid I was like, what? Like, because when we have a business, you can't take a day off and get paid. Like if you close the shop, like your income is not coming in, right? Obviously, when you work in an office, we get paid to take holiday. So when she said that to me, I was like, that sounds amazing. Like that's exactly what I want to do. But there are opportunities for us because we've come here, we can speak the language, we can speak English, that we can actually do better in schools. And that was like a massive pressure from my mum. So it was like pressure to succeed, but also the responsibility to succeed, because you have both. They both go hand in hand. And it was like, if I didn't, because my mum would say, look, you were born here, so if you don't do better than what we've done, then that's an issue.
What's the point?
Right? What was the point
What's
of
the point
all the sacrifices? So, that's super tough.
I feel like lots of students get so much pressure, like so much academical pressure from their parents. And some of them, they are not even able to show it to the outside world.
Right.
They don't even share with their friends, or I don't know, like lots of times it feels like such a burden. And emotionally, it's devastating for them.
100%. Like when I went to school in Southall, obviously in Southall, guys, there's a lot of Punjabis there. So those friends that I had at that time, they understood. Like if we spoke in Punjabi, it was so fine. It was so normal because they spoke Punjabi at home. When I then went to school in an area with literally no Punjabis, no one spoke Punjabi. It was just such a culture shock. Like the teachers didn't even speak Punjabi, you know? Like in Southall school, there were so many teachers that knew Punjabi that it was like being at home, you know? Like mum and dad nal gal karni Punjabi, you'd just be fine. But when I went to that school, it was such a culture shock for me, and I couldn't tell anyone. No one could relate to me because they were all like, even their parents were from like the area. For me, it was like a brand new area, brand new school, brand new teachers, brand new cultures. Like there wasn't, I feel like Southall, there wasn't many other cultures apart from like Indian or Punjabi or Hindi, Gujarati. Like there wasn't many other like outside cultures, if that makes sense. Quite like, they call it mini India, which I mean, it makes sense. But when I came over to Staines and I had to experience that side, it was very isolating for me. It was very lonely. Like my sister and brother didn't get it because they went to school in Southall and they still went to school in Southall. So no one understood what I was going through at home. Like all of a sudden I've been taken out of my comfort zone, been told in the middle of the year as well, you know, like in the middle of a year to move, everyone's already got their friends. So it's like trying to become friends. And I was being completely honest here, I used to cry so much. I used to say to my mum, like, I really don't want to go to the school. Minu yaad hai mera chacha minu school le chhadda hunda si. He was like, I don't want to drop her because she starts crying. And he's like, I can't take you home, so you have to go into the classroom. I used to literally beg him to be like, I don't want to go to school here. And I think it took a while, you know, to adapt. And it was super hard. I remember I used to sit on the steps and not really like interact with the kids. So as a teacher, is that something that you're like looking to kind of like navigate at schools? Is that a thing in Spain? Like do you still have kids that come in that are like isolated because they don't speak Spanish? Or?
So first of all, how it works is that when a new kid would come to school, if it's from another country, first of all, we do have special classrooms that are only to attend them better. Their necessities, we would talk with the families. We would try to understand where they're coming from, their background, what are their expectations, what do they perceive about the country, what
do they know?
And there are some hours that the kid is brought out from the ordinary classroom to learn more the Catalan and Spanish language, first of all, because the language is, you know, it's the most important thing. Like without it, you cannot learn maths or science or whatever other. And also the fact that we need more representativity, right? Me being maybe one of the first teachers of color in Catalonia is actually a thing, right? Because kids, there are so many Punjabi kids in Spanish schools too, but they don't see their representativity, their community in any job actually. So it's completely new for them. It's completely wow. They are actually amazed. And unfortunately, I feel like it's something that we need more. It needs to keep growing, and they need to feel like it's normalized. You know, we are here, and this is how it should be, and this is how it's gonna be from now on.
I think I was talking to my bua about this in the previous episode, and she was saying that when she was in school, she struggled a lot because she also came from India. And there wasn't many people like her. And that's what sparked her interest to kind of go down the educational route. So is that what sparked your interest as well? Was that how you were, like, how were you feeling being 5, moving over to Spain? Like, how was that transition period for you?
Yeah, I feel like when you do migrate in a very early age, it's actually easier. Because you're just like a sponge. You absorb everything. You absorb the language, the culture, everything. You get along with your friends very well. But if you are a bit older, like maybe 8, 9, or even if you come at 14, 15, it's going to be a bit more difficult because kids at that age are also a bit more mischievous. You know what I mean? They are a bit more conscious, and unfortunately, you can face realities such as micro-racism or bullying or things like that, only because of, first of all, your appearance, because you're definitely different. But also because you do not know the language, or you're feeling left out. Or when you are in the patio at the break time, you are not being able to make new friends or whatever. And all these things weight. Even if they are so little, little by little, they are a big mountain of things that weight, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, for me, my particular case, I was actually very little. So at 5 years old, I just have tiny flashes, and I remember
Okay.
tiny things that how my other friends were happy to have me.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of my very favorite memories is my teacher, actually.
Oh,
Just to realize how just one role,
yeah.
even if it's only one person that you feel take
Cared for you.
cared for you, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all you need.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's only one person in the whole school that you feel seen by.
Right, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
makes a massive difference, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have that one teacher that when we look back at school,
Yeah.
we're like, "Ah, love that teacher." Like, I definitely
Yeah.
do. Do you remember your like school back in India, back in Punjab? Do you remember that time? Do you remember like moving?
Yeah, I remember little flashes too when just the method is completely different, right?
Right.
Back in India, I feel like even when I did the interviews with the parents and I asked them, how was your education in India or compared to the Spanish one, which one do you prefer or whatever? And they always talk about the memoristical side of it. You know,
Okay.
how students there are so much more pressured to
Right.
memorize, to cope up with all the subjects, and they are told off
Right, yeah, yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
But
In India.
yeah, but for example, in Spain, they do acknowledge that the teachers put so much effort also on the practical part too.
Right,
You
yeah,
know, they
yeah.
make you learn the theory, but as
How
same
to
as
apply.
yeah, how to apply it, or they would take the kids to trips to
Yeah.
learn also, or to engage in many other ways. That's not only forcing the memoristical part of the brain, you know.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And why did your parents pick Spain? Like, do you know? Have you spoken to them? Like, why did we
Yeah,
move?
actually,
If you don't mind me asking.
yeah, sure. So, um, I feel like now the Punjabi diaspora is actually just everywhere.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But why Spain? So maybe it would, as you may know, also that usually are the dads. The first of all, that are the dads, the ones that go abroad,
Yeah.
and they just try to explore, try to see which country fits best,
Right, yeah.
and
Like
whichever
settle down.
they settle down, it's they if
They
they
were
feel
like, that's
comfortable
it.
about it, they just call the family and they just follow
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah. And how
But
was your like feeling like leaving? Because obviously, like it can be exciting because it's like, oh, we're going abroad. Was that like the first time you went abroad? So was that like an
yeah.
exciting feeling? And then it was like the reality of it when you came, or is it kind of like you were so young that you kind of
Yeah.
just went with the
Yeah,
flow?
I think both things. I was quite little, but at the same time, I was feeling so excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But my mom definitely was not.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's,
Yeah,
did she
because
leave her
just
family?
imagine. Yeah, of course, we had
Yeah.
to leave all our family behind because um, throughout my years, I could understand better their perspective too. Because
Yeah.
when I was adolescent, I was so like, you know, like, why aren't you letting me do this? Why can I not join that party? Why can I not go out until
Yeah.
that time? Because
Agreed.
like, and why can my brother do? And why can I not?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when all those issues were flourishing, like with that aid and with that understanding, you do not really understand your parents, right? Like
Yeah.
why they are doing. But over the years, you also empathize a little bit. You empathize
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them and you try to understand a little bit their point of view too.
Yeah.
Like nobody prepared my mom to raise two kids in a completely different society,
Culture. Yeah, yeah.
in a different country without the family support because
Right, yeah. Takes a village to
yeah,
raise a kid, right?
of
So
course.
as soon as you think about how they're raising, like even with my sister, she and my brother, like they both have my parents, and my sister luckily has her in-laws as well. So yeah, it takes a village to
Yeah.
raise those kids. But if you think about most of the families that migrated, it's literally just them two handling the job, handling the culture, trying to learn the language, trying to learn how this new country works, how also raising the kids. Like, my mum made a joke the other day because my niece's homework is like, there's like 5 things that she has to do. And mum was like, thank God that when you were younger, it wasn't this bad, like the homework. And I was like, Mum, it definitely was the same. I just used to sign my diary because you were never at home. So I used to sign it on her behalf to be like, yeah, I've read. And then, you know, when she said that and I thought about that, I was like, that's insane at such a young age that I was so aware that I was going to get told off if my parents didn't sign my diary. But I knew that they just couldn't, and they weren't ever going to sit down and read to me. Like, I had to do that myself. So, you know, all these things that I'm like looking at my niece and nephews, I'm like, I'm really happy for them that they can actually be children and they can, they don't need to worry about those things because me, my brother, my sister, we're all there to guide the children and make it a lot more easier, and they can actually just focus on their education. But when just bringing that up, I was like, yeah, that's like, it's not only pressure on them, but as kids, we try to take that pressure away from them, right?
Yeah.
And she was like so shocked when I told her.
It's like it makes you grow a bit faster.
Yeah.
I always had that feeling, like, compared to my other peers, I was always feeling like I have this sense of responsibility that maybe my friends do not have yet.
Yeah.
Or you start being a bit more mature.
Yeah. I don't think my friends whose parents were also born here, they never had the pressure that I do, not even now. Like, as soon as they were adults, all their like responsibilities per se is over them and their like partner, like whoever they're dating, and then that's it. Like, it's just them. Like, they don't have to worry about their family's admin. Whereas, like, I don't know, we were like all sat around recently and I was like, I'm so stressed because I have so much admin to do. And they were like, oh, like what? And I was like, do you know what? It's not even my admin. It's like, I need to sort out the insurance. I need to sort out life insurance. I need to help them with the mortgage. There's just so many things on my plate that, on top of your own stuff, right? Like, on top of my own mail and my own emails, I need to read theirs and make sure that nothing's getting missed, because you don't want that, like, burden to fall on them. Like, what would take them a whole day to do, I can do it in an hour, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't mind doing that, but it is just so much on your shoulders constantly that you just can't seem to like relax. Right?
No, it's like it's constantly like in there. It's constantly there. You're constantly switching. You're constantly thinking, overthinking about so many realities, like so many possibilities, that it's emotionally draining.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's so like, and especially if you do not have anyone to share it with, it can be really.
It's like a lonely
path.
Yeah, for sure. Especially what you said about like your brother and you getting treated differently, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I used to argue with my parents so much when I was younger, because everyone used to do sleepovers.
Yeah.
I actually don't think people do sleepovers as much now. And to be honest, with the stuff that's in the news, I completely understand. Completely understand why my parents were so hesitant to let me go to sleepovers. But when we were younger, every girl in my class used to do a sleepover for their birthday.
Yeah.
Like, every single one. And it was a fight every time with my parents. I was like, why not? Why not? Why not? And I'm not saying that my brother went to sleepovers, because I actually don't think he did. But I found it like, my siblings can do whatever they want and I can't. Bear in mind, there is a 10 and 8 year difference. So they did have more freedom than me anyway. But the way I would see it is, all my friends get to do all these things, go to the park, go to the shops, just hang out, and I'm not allowed to go.
Yeah.
And it was so like conflicting, because even with my brother and my sister, when I look at some of the things, it was like, my sister had to take me with her, whereas my brother could just go out and just do what he wants. And there was such a like difference of how he was getting treated compared to us two.
Yeah. It's actually, it is the topic. It is the issue,
That's
right?
the whole topic in itself.
That's the whole topic. But it's really, it's really painful. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate, because the more you do try to ask, the less you feel like they have an answer to it.
Yeah.
Because in the end, they're just going to say, because he's the boy.
Right.
And what are you going to do with that? You know? What?
And that was an answer. Let's be honest. I don't know about other people listening, but in my household, that was the answer. He's a boy, so he can do what he wants.
Yeah, and I
You
was
can't.
like, yeah, but so what?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
So what?
And I do think people that get told that, like my parents changed very quickly. When my sister got married, I think I was very lucky that my sister was older. My sister did all the battles for me, right? So I didn't have as many battles as she did. She had way more battles.
That is
than I
actually
did.
one thing, like the role models.
Right.
The older siblings as role models, they had to go through all these procedures, and somehow they just clean the path for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
as they grow, parents also see and experience with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe that wasn't that bad, and I can let the little one do it too and
Yeah,
try
yeah.
it. And it's not that much.
It's not that big of a like,
Yeah.
whoa. Like,
Yeah.
I think my parents found it super hard to break. I think, okay, so I want to be careful the way that I say this. I think when people leave their hometown, leave their home countries, when they go to the new country, I think there's a lot of pressure on them that they don't want their kids to lose touch with the culture that they have.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. I 100% agree. On Appa podcast banaya to speak Punjabi, we Appa Punjabi boliye, not let the younger generation like lose that touch, right? So I feel the same kind of pressure, even though I didn't grow up in India. But obviously everyone has that moment in their life that they're like, I actually want to know my background, I want to know my heritage. What I think is different is like my parents were probably more traditional than like the families back in India. Like the way that the families back in India, they'll be like, oh, we don't do that. But my parents were so like, we did this when we were younger, so now we have to do it. Like, and they get really attached to something, which might not like be the case when you go back to India.
That sometimes makes me feel like they left the country maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But the India they remember
is not the India now.
Yeah, but it's like it's the last memory they have of it. So it's like they just continue living in that moment of it. And maybe they obviously they do not live in there, so they do not know how it's evolving also.
Yeah, yeah.
So...
But even like when my mum hears about some things that happen in India and what the girls and boys are like, she's like, I was never like that. I woke up at 5 a.m., did all my chores, then went to school, then came back, then also did all the chores. And she's like, kids in India are not like that. Kids in India are not like that. But because we were raised by parents that did that, guess what? We had all the stories, right?
Yeah.
And I think every child who has immigrant parents can relate to this. Is like, it's like this crazy story about how they even got to school, like walking over Mount Everest kind of vibe, you know? like we did this and then we did this, and it's like, whoa. And then subconsciously you do have that pressure. It's like, oh my God, I need to be better. I need to do better. And then you have to, it's like succeeding is just the baseline.
Yeah, it's the bare minimum.
It's the bare minimum. Like you passing your exams is like the bare minimum. Now go do this, go do this.
And that is actually very unfortunate. It's the word, because after so many years of having high expectations, I am like currently in a state where even if I have the best results, I cannot get the time to congratulate myself. I do not feel proud of myself. How crazy is that, right? Like,
and you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do next?
Yeah,
what's
like, because it's like you're never gonna get the I'm proud of you, kid. I'm proud of you, son. You
never get the praise.
yeah, and it's like it's never. It feels like it's never enough.
Yeah.
And
do you think we chase it more because we don't get it? Like, because we don't get that
recognition.
You know what? Like, well done, you killed it.
Yeah.
Because we don't get that, we're like, okay, what can I do next?
Yeah, I feel like some kids they keep pursuing more and more higher education.
Yeah.
To try to have that recognition from their parents.
Right. Yeah.
because that's the point. Like in Punjabi households, the more education you have,
It's kind of like
the more
successful
honor,
you
the
are.
more ijat,
Yeah.
the more the higher reputation they can get, right?
Yeah.
But
My buddy mom actually said to me, she was like, so I'm an actuary, right? And there's loads of exams involved in that whole process. Like, it's kind of like accounting where you do your uni degree, but then you have to keep doing exams to like get to where you are. And I don't earn a bad wage, okay? Like, I'm very comfortable. So that means that the education is paying off, right? Because every time you pass an exam, you get a salary increase. And my buddy mum obviously doesn't know what an actuary is. Well, she didn't at the time. And ek vari appa baithe si, and she goes, "Putt, tenu pata tera cousin doctor a." And I looked at her, I was like, "Oh, fuck, I know where this is going." Like,
yeah.
You know, when it's like coming and you're like,
Yeah.
damn. Like, and then she was like, "Tu haje vi ban sakdi hai."
Yeah.
You know, like,
Wow.
it's not late. You can still get doctorate. And I was like,
What if I don't want to?
not
What
even
if-
that,
what if
but
it's
like,
never my plan.
per hour compared to like what doctor
Yeah.
and doctors work so hard, guys. I'm not taking that. Like, it is so tough to do that. I actually am lazy. I don't have that. I don't have the jar to do a doctorate. And honestly, congratulations on your PhD as well, because it's tough. Like, carrying on studying when you have so much like going on in your social life and life in general. It's like, you've been studying for how many years? What, 28, 29,
Yeah.
30? Like, for me, it's going to be 30 years, you know? And at first, I thought it was like a burden. And obviously, hearing comments like that from your buddy mum, you're like,
Yeah.
it's still not good enough, even though it's because they don't understand it, though.
Yeah.
If I was an engineer, if I was a doctor, if I was a lawyer,
Yeah.
they get those jobs. They understand what that is, so they know what you're doing. Because she didn't know what I was doing. She's thinking, like, I haven't done enough because I'm not a doctor. But just because of a title doesn't, like, mean anything.
Of course.
But what I recently found out with my family is my great-great-great-granddad, my great-great-granddad, my great-granddad, up until my granddad, were all doctors. Like, and I think it's my great-granddad or my great-great-granddad, he was actually a really big brain surgeon to the point where he was in Japan doing a brain surgery.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. And it was only when I started talking to my family about it, and I was like, now I understand why my buddy mum was like, be a doctor, because it runs in our family.
Yeah.
And because it was such a prestigious, and it is a very prestigious title to hold in India, you have to understand that educational opportunities in India are not as big and not as like accessible as it is for us when we migrate. So in their head, they're like, we had to jump over these hurdles just to get a doctorate degree and pay so much for school. You're getting free education, so why couldn't you do the same?
Yeah.
So their understanding of what
Yeah.
education is available to you, like the highest thing over there is a doctor. So
Yeah.
when you start, I think you touched on this earlier, is like when we were younger, like we were like, didn't understand our parents, we would like argue with them. But now we're a bit more like, actually, when you understand like their history, what they went through, what their life was like, you can kind of relate to them a bit better.
Now I do understand better their higher expectations on education.
Yeah.
Because they, obviously, the Punjab they're coming from, it's so, already full of racism, casteism, and still the narratives are this.
Yeah.
You are a Jat, or you are a Chamar, or you are whatever.
Yeah.
This is still the topic in there.
Oh, I think it's more here, right? Don't you hear it more? I hear it more in like coming from like kids that are in Canada, kids that are in the UK, kids that are like outside of Punjab. I hear more about Jat, this Jat, that Jat. And even my parents, up until like a couple of years ago, were like, you need to get married to a Jat. Like, it needs to be Jat, it needs to be Jat. I say a couple of years ago, probably more like 15 years ago, when I was younger, that's what you would hear, right? And it's like, these Jats that are in the UK are not farming. I don't even think they can keep their houseplant alive,
Yeah.
And the jobs have changed. Like all these like structural things that they used to have, they might be Jat, but they probably don't have any kidle back home.
Yeah.
Have they even gone to Punjab?
Yeah.
Can they speak Punjabi?
Yeah.
Like, why does that matter?
Yeah.
Right? So why does this caste all of a sudden matter?
Yeah.
When it actually, in practical terms, if you look at the definition, they actually aren't Jat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you want to
Yeah.
do the definition of Jat,
Yeah.
they're not one.
Like, I feel like so many years it has been so difficult for me to really understand the depth of it. You know, the
Yeah.
actual concepts, like the religion they're coming from, or the conception of, or the perspective of life they have, to how that can be so important that it shapes their behavior, it shapes
And
who
their
they are.
expectation on the kids.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to now get married to a family that are like equivalent
Aligns,
to
yeah.
whatever we are, right? And that's so wrong.
Yeah.
Look, you can have a family that's Jat and the same level as you guys, but they might be absolutely horrible to your
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah.
Then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is that the families align. And we were talking about this earlier, like, there are families out there that have the same values as whatever your family might have, and be completely different religion, completely different race, from a completely different background, right? So my best friend growing up when I was in primary school was Nigerian, and her mum was very, very strict with her. Same as mine. We bonded so much over it. So yeah, she wasn't Punjabi, but we bonded over that.
Yeah.
Her mum would literally come and pick her up from our house. My mum and dad would pick me up from her house. And it would be like absolutely fine because my parents were talking to each other. And it was like, I think my mum and dad actually said it. They were like, "Ita sadde agura, ita sadde agur soch deya." And I was like, yeah, because it's not, I don't, like, they have this perception that only like they can trust people that are just have the similar background to them. But
Yeah.
they can't trust other cultures, but
Yeah.
it's so opposite from the truth.
Yeah. And the thing that we were commenting earlier on about all these expectations and so on, and how does that shape what they want in their kids, I feel like they, even if they are Punjabis in the UK, in Spain, in Italy, in whichever country in Europe or in the world, they all have this thing, right? But it took me many years to understand, like, what's the definition of success for my family,
Right.
right? Because it can be completely different to what is success for me in my life.
Yeah.
You know, what are my objectives, my aims in my life? And if they are not aligned with what my parents think, we're never going to reach at...
Yeah, your
we're never
relationship isn't going to get better.
No.
I was thinking this when this topic came up and when you were talking to me. I was like, I wonder how many kids who have immigrant parents actually pursued a career that they were genuinely passionate about.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be shocked by the
Yeah.
statistic. But when I then think about what my passions were as a kid, it actually was maths.
Yeah.
Like, I actually was really interested in the finance sector. But is that because my family had so much pressure on, like, succeeding? So I knew I needed a job that made money.
Yeah.
And that was my passion.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I was like, guys, true story. I did my A-levels. I searched highest paying job in maths. Actuarial came up and I went, that's the degree for me.
Yeah.
Genuine story. I tell it in interviews. They're like, what made you want to be an actuary? I was like, it was the highest paying job when it came up on a Google search.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm so honest about it because in my head, it was like, you need to succeed. You need to be successful. What does that look like? In my family, it's not just education. It's kind of being comfortable. It's kind of like having support for your family and like being able to do things. I think when I was younger, what I associated success with was families that were able to go on holiday together.
Yeah.
No matter what the holiday was.
Yeah.
That for me was success.
Yeah.
And I do think that plays a lot into my psychology today, where I'm like, I won't hesitate to take a holiday because I'm like, that it reinforces me to be like, okay, I'm on the right path. And it's like a reward system for me, you know? Every time I go on a holiday, I take 10 minutes by myself, I go for a walk and I will just be so grateful, because I remember as a kid how this was everything that I ever wanted, right? Because we never got that. And I think it took my parents a while to get on board with spending money to go on holiday, because they were like, that like for us it's like buy a house.
Yeah.
For them, success is like you have loads of properties on your name, like you're like, you know, getting loads of rent. For me it's different. So I do think like they have like an impact on what we want and what we're passionate about. But I do think at a certain point you have to realize like what gives you the satisfaction, and sometimes you may not get that. Well done put, changa kita put. You're not gonna get that. So like, you know, you have to find other ways to kind of
negotiate with them.
And satisfy
their relationship.
For sure. And I've shown them a different side when like I've taken my mum on holiday. I'm like, Mum, come on holiday, and I'm paying for it all. You know, I paid for it all, and I was like, I'm gonna take you on holiday. And when she came back, she was so much more chilled out. And I was like, see. And now her perception has changed. Now she's like, let's do an all-inclusive holiday. It's great. So you have to remember that they were just kids when they moved over, and they didn't have that luxury to do that. So for them, it's like work, work, work. But we have to always remember that we aren't living just to work. We work to live. Not the other way around. So
I feel like it's very difficult for them to understand.
Super.
Because they are like, okay, but what are my options? Like, what do I do? Even if I have the money, even if I have the opportunity and the free time, I feel like they just don't know how to enjoy. They were never meant for it. They were never exposed to it. They do not know how leisure for them, what is it?
I think it's very different though, right? Like if we think about if I was in my mum and dad's position, I would also, not gonna lie, I wouldn't be going on holiday. Why? Because my parents are back home. They could do without money. And that is a reality for them. In their head, if you think about it, they left their family to come here to set up for themselves. But those are still their parents back home. They're still living that reality. They still don't have that much money. And in a lot of cases, those parents actually put up a lot of money for them to be able to come here. So they actually do have the same stress as us. You know, it's different, but they do experience that. I'm thinking like, if I left my parents and went to America, and then, I don't know, like my parents are actually okay, but if I was like let's say I became a millionaire there, at some point you get guilty if your parents are still living the same life that you grew up with. And you do have that sense of, I need to look after them. Right? And the reality for these guys is, in most cases, some of them haven't made enough money to also look after their own family in these countries, as well as their families back home. And imagine how tough that is when you go back and you still see them, and like, I guess they don't have that spare income. They don't look at income as spare ever because of that scenario for them.
This makes me think a lot about the concept of agency. You know, I feel like in our community is something that's completely non-existent.
Right.
You know, how, because they perceive, right? Families perceive the kids as an extension of them. We are not an individual. We are part of this family. We are part of this joint family, right? We owe since the moment we are born. We owe, and we are part of it. And it's so difficult for them to understand, like, how can this person exist as an own individual. And from that very thing, lots of others come behind.
So just going back to your research, when you were doing research for this PhD, what kind of surprised you the most? What shocked you the most?
The fact that when I was doing interviews with young girls and young boys and the families and teachers itself, for example, in the case of the young people, they all said, like, wow, this is the first time someone is asking me this, or this is my first time ever talking about this topic.
Right.
And for me, it was like, wow, like literally, this is the reality. Like, this fact in itself is a big result of my thesis, because this means like they have never been given the chance,
Yeah, to
you
explore
know,
that.
to explore what's happening, or teachers giving them voice
Yeah.
to talk about, you know, to give some cultural visibility to it.
Yeah, because it's quite emotional when you think about it, right? The
Yeah.
whole aspect of having all these pressures, feeling a bit more lonely, coming into school, and then like not having teachers that kind of understand, not having friends that kind of understand. It's quite a lonely experience. It's quite an emotional burden
Yeah.
on these kids, right? So it's actually so amazing that you're able to kind of highlight that and give these children that voice to kind of
Yeah.
come forward and
Yeah.
say,
The idea that I had in mind was basically because I did live this experience,
yeah,
and it's something that I cope up with every day in my life. I don't, especially being a teacher myself,
Yeah.
and understanding the power a person can have being a teacher,
right, yeah,
the power you hold. Because when I was little, I was looking at my teachers like, you do understand me. You can be the mediator between me and my family. You
right,
can
yeah,
make the
yeah,
chance, like you can make the change.
yeah, yeah,
Like you can be helpful.
yeah,
And I still have that perception. I still believe that. And that's why I became one.
yeah,
And basically, I'm doing my thesis just for that, like giving space for this voice to be heard.
yeah, absolutely,
And how in the future I wish there's no more Punjabi kids going through this process
yeah.
without any, without a follow up.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's still important to highlight that this isn't just Punjabi kids that
Yeah.
might feel this way.
Yeah.
I saw a video actually on TikTok the other day. It was a teacher, and it was in America, and a child had come, joined the school, and she's actually got another Spanish kid translating. So the new kid basically couldn't speak English, so the child is actually translating from Spanish from the kid to what the teacher's saying. And if you actually listen to how the child is translating, you can tell that that child like is so adorable, right? Because she's not only translating like what the teacher's saying, but you can tell that it means a lot for the child. And like the child like hugging the teacher,
Yeah.
and the teacher's like, it's okay, like it's fine, if you feel anxious, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And she's like slowly trying to educate the child. So I think it's so important that there's so many kids that probably are genuinely going through the same thing, but the emotional burden of it is never really spoken
Understood.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, the fact that you just mentioned about how one kid would be translating, it's like, it's not their job.
yeah, so
Yeah, you know, and this fact, like, I've done many interviews with teachers, both from primary and secondary school, and some of them say that when they have the interviews with the families, sometimes the kid is there because of the language barrier, but they also recognize that it's not the kid's job to do.
yeah,
And this only highlights the lack of, first of all, representativity, and the lack of the system itself. The system is failing to provide. The system, first of all, is failing to see the needs.
yeah. But if not, and I've said this before, if not that many people are affected by this, it doesn't get highlighted.
Yeah.
And I think it's people like you that have lived through it that are like, actually, this needs to change, that actually take action. And then, you know, you become the change that
Yeah.
you become the person that you needed
Yeah.
when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Like you recognize it because you relate to it, because
Yeah.
you lived through that, because you actually experienced that. So
Yeah.
when you look at the kid, you can actually have some empathy
Of
because
course.
you can see
Yeah.
yourself in
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And it's when people like you are like actually highlighting that topic. Like
Yeah.
I've never sat down and thought about all the things that I had to do as a kid until we literally started speaking about it.
Yeah.
I was like, actually, oh my God, I can't believe I used to do this and that and blah, blah. But it's actually it's like
Yeah.
a big topic that no one kind of
Yeah.
considers. But how do you think that impacts like young adults and adults in their future life? Like that whole aspect, how do you think that affects the kids?
Yeah. When I was doing the interviews, many of them said that obviously they felt unseen. So obviously that shapes the trajectories of everyone,
Yeah.
right? In many, many different ways. Even a little help can be so important and can change completely your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Even that teacher that heard you at that very moment, or a teacher that came to you to solve that issue, or just any tiny thing can shape and reshape your trajectory as a whole. But obviously they see things changing now, and many of the young people, they have siblings that are going to school, and they are there to say, okay, I'm not gonna let my sibling go through the same path.
Yeah, but that does fall on the eldest one then,
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of like pressure for them. Like it was definitely for my sister being the eldest. Like there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of battles that she fought
Yeah.
that led the pathway for me. But I think in my household it didn't really like, it wasn't, my parents were like, what the hell? Because like my sister had all these battles, and now her battles seemed like so minuscule for when it was me, because I was like, I want to go out, I want to live out at uni, and they were like, what? Like, you're not doing that. And it was so unheard of. It was like, you know, how are you gonna live away from home, etc., etc. And bear in mind, I still live with my parents now, but there was a time where I was like, I want to live away from home, I want to live away from home. And then the reality of it now is like, and as a woman, we are the ones that have to get married and move away from our parents. The boy has the option.
Yeah.
For them, they don't even need to think about this. I don't know how long it is until I get married. But whenever that time comes, after that, I'll never be able to kind of live with my parents.
Yeah.
That's it. My whole life changes. And as a female, your life is going to change. Like it's always been such a like, this is how it is. This is how it is. This is how it is. Which is fine. I get it. Like, you're not always going to have the guy move in and whatever. And I think if everyone stuck to this rule, then all the parents would be looked after, unless they don't have a son. So then it's like, okay, what do the parents that don't have a son do? And that you would see, because of that one thing, because of, oh, the girl leaves the parents behind, she looks after the in-laws. Because of that, that's why I feel like in India they have that pressure of, we need a son, we need a son, we need a son.
Yeah.
The reality of it in the UK and in other countries, and not in Punjab, is that some guys also leave their parents, right? So, and it's not like, and the reality that I've seen is that the daughter is still looking after her parents as well. She's able to do that in these communities and in these cultures. So when we talk about like cultures coming over from your home country to what it is now, I feel like things can change. They'll change slowly.
Yeah.
But we don't need to have like certain traditions come with us all the time.
Things are definitely changing little by little.
Yeah.
Even with the fact that the intercaste marriages,
Yeah.
or obviously girls getting more and more education,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing and they know what they want.
Absolutely.
And they are,
We are all educated enough.
yeah,
to
they
do
are
these
getting
decisions.
little by little the skills, the strategies to
Absolutely.
navigate, to negotiate their liberty,
Yeah, for sure.
and how to entablate these conversations with their families. And sometimes if it has to break, then it has to be, you know, because how long are you gonna hold it?
Yeah, for sure.
How long, how more can you sacrifice of your own self for, even if it's a family? you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you do see some families where the children have just put their foot down and said, actually, this works for me. I know it might not work for you. And some parents are still stuck. Some parents are actually adapting their ways. And times change. Like, even for us, when we have children, times will change. We might be like, why are you doing this? And it's like, you know, things change so quickly, especially with technology, with internet, etc. So I think the main thing is like adapting with the times, adapting with the culture, like just embracing life as it is, rather than hanging on to things that might be or could be. So just to wrap up, is there anything that you want to tell our listeners? Do you have any advice? Is there something that you can tell young adults that are going through basically what you went through? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say that throughout my childhood and my secondary school, basically, I had lots of constant, I don't know, constant
Pressure? maybe?
Pressure, but also sense of loneliness.
Right.
But because of this very thing, it provided me with lots of sense of sensitivity and sensibility throughout things, because my ways of perceiving or maturing, sometimes the world tries to minimize us in terms of, oh, why are you being so sensitive about this topic, or why are you making a big issue about it? But just when you are grown up enough to know that this is one of your main things, this is something that you should feel grateful for. It's not a burden. It's actually one of your strengths to feel in that manner that you want to do the change, and it gives you the strength to move forward. I would only say that every bad thing we go through just maintains us resilient, and we should just never stop fighting for what we believe in.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think especially being born here, you're kind of always fighting with two cultures, right? You belong to two places, but neither at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very, very conflicting, and I think it's something that we all should talk about more openly. And I'm so grateful that you decided to come on this podcast and share your thesis with us. I think it's super, super important. You kind of underestimate the emotional burden of these things, and also how it is on kids. Like, even for the 2nd gen, 3rd gen, 4th gen, they'll still have that element of like, oh, we still speak Punjabi at home, and my friends don't speak Punjabi, and all this other stuff. But I think it's just where we can understand it, we should educate them more, and we should be more aware of these things, like how we were feeling as kids. So unpack it in therapy. I know it's not really spoken about in Punjabi culture about therapy and stuff, but sometimes these things can actually help. And if you don't want to go to therapy, then find circles that you can actually talk about this in, right? And or do a PhD, do a thesis in it, and help the rest of us understand why we're feeling how we might be feeling. And look, there's scary times sometimes, especially recently with the news and stuff. I'm hearing like people in America aren't speaking Spanish on the street. So it's not just Punjabi, it's everywhere. It's all across the world. And there are scary times when certain results happen, or someone comes into power that isn't completely happy. But I think as a community, we have to support each other. We have to be a bit more open. We have to also adapt with the times. We have to kind of see what's kind of presented in front of us and adapt, but also understand our parents and how they think and why they think the way that they think. And look, that's the main thing on the podcast. I say it every single time, like, have a conversation with your parents, understand where they're coming from, because once you have those conversations, you'll actually understand them a lot better. But thank you so much
for coming on this podcast.
Having me. No, it's okay. And I will see you guys on the next podcast. Bye.